everyone, it's Sharona from Pay or Wait, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Craft Legacy, which is now available on VOD. This film exists within the universe of The Crafts, the 1996 cult classic that I grew up on. Don't tell my mama, because you know how she feel about witches, demons, spirits, etc. But this film is actually a continuation of these characters that were created by Peter Filardi. It's written and directed by Zoe Lister-Jones, and we focus on a new legacy, a new generation of witches as they look to form their coven. So for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome, hello, so glad you came, I hope you stay. I tell you what I enjoyed about the film, what I didn't like about the film, and is it worth your time or not purchasing this film, which is now available on VOD. So let's get into what I did enjoy about The Craft Legacy. First and foremost, one of the things that I do appreciate about this film is the messages that this film provides. I like that they didn't go for, to be honest with you, let me just tell you guys, to be honest, I thought that this was just going to be a complete remake, like reboot of the previous version, the 1996 version. But what I do like is they kind of tweaked a couple of things, and it really centers around the messages. And so one of these powerful things that stuck with me was your power is, your difference is your power, which is something that in the first film, the women, they had a hard time of realizing that their difference is what makes them powerful, right? And kind of that seek into trying to get out of being different, to want to blend in with everyone else, that really led to their downfall ultimately in the first film. And so I like that they tweaked this to help the women understand that the fact that you're different, that is what makes you powerful. I like that we have women coming together, and not it always has to be like, oh, this girl's being mean to me, so I'm gonna be mean back to her and I'm gonna abuse my powers. Like, we don't fall down those like tropes that we've seen in 90s films, especially that we saw within the 1996 version of The Craft. Also too, I will have to say, as something that is similar to what we saw in the previous film is when they actually have to teach one of the young men by the name of Timmy a lesson, okay, because he needed to get his life read, okay, he needed to turn his life around. I was like, somebody call Ayana and help him fix his life because he's out of order. But I actually like what they ended up doing with this character, and it's played by Nicholas Galazine, and I really enjoyed where they went with his character. It wasn't too preachy, it wasn't overdone, it was actually funny. You actually came to care about this person, and I thought like, oh my goodness, this was actually good. And then also too, this film really focuses on Cailee Spaeny, who plays Lily. I enjoyed her character. I like what she brought to these group of women. And really overall, I enjoyed the casting of, you know, the 4 different women in this film. I really enjoyed their personalities. I thought that they each brought something new and different to the fold. And that's really about all that I thoroughly enjoyed about this film, because I do have a lot of issues with The Craft Legacy. And I think the biggest issue of this film is the writing. It felt as though while watching this film that they were so focused on creating this huge franchise, creating all of these different spin-offs or these different films that they can, you know, put out back to back to back, when it's, you still have to sell us on the film we're currently watching. And this is a problem that I'm starting to see. I'm starting to actually see this with a lot of films, potential franchises within Hollywood. The studios are so consumed with, we have to make money, we have to build franchises, which I understand that's how studios make money, but you have to make sure that people are sold on the current film that they're watching, so you can get people to actually pay to go see this, and then you know, garner more buzz for future films to come. And while I was watching The Craft Legacy, it just felt like everything was chaotic that was happening. There was so much happening. There really wasn't a clear, like, this is the story that we're going to go for. This is kind of like the conflict that the women have to get into, and this is the resolution which will lead us into future films to come. And honestly, there is a third act that comes out of nowhere. It doesn't really come out of nowhere. I totally saw where this was going a mile away, but I was so confused because we didn't take the time to have our world building. So in this film, and it's not a spoiler, there's warlocks, okay? That's all you need to know. And I was just like, so are we going to introduce this concept? Are we going to expound upon that? Are we going to talk about the history behind this? Why this character does the things that they do? And I was just like, they were like, nah, we're not going to do it. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to make you fall in love with these characters, and then we're just going to turn into a totally different movie for the third act of the film. And it felt out of place. It felt out of place because also too, the biggest problem that I also have with this film is the diversity and the lack of character development to go with the diversity of this film. One of the biggest criticisms was the diversity in the first one and actually exploring these different characters. And in a film where you have all of these different women from different backgrounds, right? And there was Zoe Luna, who is in the film, I didn't even know that her character was trans until there's something that her character says where it was just like, oh yeah, I'm trans. And I was just like, huh? Come again? That's what we're going to do? And also too, with Lovey Simone's character, there's something she says to talk about police brutality, like how they center it. I was just like, yeah, that was very lazy. I don't know who okayed that, but that was lazy storytelling, what you just did. And if you're going to have this great casting, because I do like the women that were cast in these roles, you gotta give them something to do. We only focus on Lily in this entire film. You have four women, and you're only talking about one of them the whole film. It just really makes it pointless that you have this diversity, because now it looks like to me, you're just checking a box to say, okay, I got someone who is like Hispanic, who's Latinx, I got someone who is black, I have someone who is trans. Like, y'all, what are we doing here? Even like, I just don't understand how you expect to build this world, build this franchise, if you can't get us deeply invested in your characters or actually give your characters something to do throughout the film. And really for me, while I enjoyed the first half of this film, I felt so conflicted. And that's why I'm also late with my review, because I don't know what I necessarily want to say as far as pay or wait. After like a lot of soul searching and really just going back and forth, I think for me, what I will say is if you weren't completely sold on this idea, I would definitely tell you that it's a wait. But for someone like me who loved the original Craft, who was excited to see where they would go with this continuation, that these two movies that coexist within the same universe, and even with how they kind of set up a potential second, or I guess at this point, a third installment into the Craft franchise, I would tell you to pay, because for the first half of the film, I really did like it. I enjoyed it. I was like, you know what? I thought it was going to be bad, y'all. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought it was going to be bad, but I said I always going to give people the benefit of the doubt and watch it for myself and make a decision. I was like, I'm actually enjoying this. And then when we get to this chaotic third act that just didn't make any sense, because we don't get to see the women explore their powers. We don't get to learn anything outside of the main character in this film. I was just like, so what? You were doing so good. I was rooting for you the first half of this film. And when we get to the third act, I was just like, really? This is what we're doing? So I'm mixed on it. Overall, if I'm just looking at it as a movie, I'm going to say wait. But for those of you who do enjoy the Craft, who enjoy the fact that they're going to continue this legacy on for the new generation, I would tell you guys it's worth giving it a try. But I really hope that if this film does make it to a third installment, which I am still invested, if it makes it to a third installment, I really wanted to see them give the other women who are cast in this film, really give their characters something to do, really expound upon the world building that they kind of established in this film. But those are my thoughts on the Craft legacy. As always, my name is Sharronda from Pay or Wait. And if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. And until I see you again.